Welcome back everyone to a brand new Caelesti showcase video. It has been quite a while since I have done a video for Caelesti or even updated Caelesti in the first place, so apologies for the huge delay. But I am planning on getting back into things now in full force. I have released a few videos over the last few weeks, some of which were just advertisements for podcasts, some of which, obviously the most recent one I had a lot of fun editing was actually myself and my friend's reaction to Minecraft Live this year, which was a few months ago now, or was it a month ago? 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. It was good fun anyway, and I really enjoyed watching it, and I think our reactions were quite funny for the most part. So if you haven't already seen that, do go check it out. It's quite a fun watch. It's 2 hours of footage compressed down into about 10 minutes, which I was very pleased with, honestly. So without further ado, we'll get on to some more Caelesti content. First of all, the grass from Caelesti version 0.19.3 has been why did I say has been returned? I was going to say been returned. It's now in the pack again, so all of the grass that was in Caelesti version 0.19.3, which I initially removed in the big overhaul in 0.20, that has now been brought back in. It's had its color palette tweaked and made more consistent, and also the texture system is also now consistent with how Caelesti's done now in terms of these slightly taller textures where it's also two is it like two panes? It's now just one long pane, basically. So it's been done better, which is always a good thing. Obviously, yeah, long grass is in as well, and the color palette has been updated to match. You can see it blends into the grass quite nicely there. But obviously, if you are at head level, you can kind of see everything like that. I think it looks really good anyway. If you think that the grass should be a slightly different color so it stands out more, please let me know in the comments. But otherwise, I actually quite like this, the way it looks. So we're going to leave it like that for now. Chests have been updated to have a little bezel on the front and the back. Yeah, there ain't really much to say about this one, honestly. I think it's just a big improvement on the original texture. The bezel isn't on the side, as it still has this sort of like strap thing going around the edge, which I do quite like. But yeah, it just adds a little bit more to the front face of the chest. I think it looks pretty good. The trap chest can still be identified by the creeper face on the side, as you can see there. Of course, the regular chest does not have that. So if you are a little bit troubled and you see just a regular trap chest out in the open, you can still figure out whether it's trapped or basic by looking at the edge like that. I've always wondered if that makes things too easy. So, I don't know, because the vanilla chest has like a little bit of red underneath the thing, which I think is a bit weird, honestly. I don't know, I think that's a neat little thing. Like, it's barely noticeable unless you're specifically looking for it. And they are, of course, two different colours as well. They're kind of similar colours, but, like, yeah, I mean, you can easily tell. But if it was on its own, maybe you can't. I don't know. The minecart chest has also been updated to match. It's difficult to see, but the bezel is also in there, so you'll probably never even see that, honestly. But obviously, for the sake of consistency, it has been included, so you can see it inside there. A few letters have been changed, as you can see here. The ones that come to mind primarily are actually the letter V. I've actually updated that slightly to use a more consistent like gradient with the slanted section. There are also other letters like the... What else did we do? I completely forgot. I did this before I stopped, all right? I did half of this stuff before I even started work on Caelesti again. So I don't remember. Oh, yeah, also the F, like the two horizontal bits of the F end at the same point now instead of being slightly different, which I think looks just cleaner. It's just a lot better. There were a lot of little changes like that. Like I think the T was also one. Like the top horizontal part of the T and the lower part like end at the same place, basically. So little things like that to just tweak consistency, basically. And I know you've seen it in the corner of your eye. I posted this on my Instagram account earlier this week. But this is our brand new note block, which I really, really like. Now, a lot of people have done visual note blocks before in the past. It is a bit of a weird one to do, honestly. A lot of the ways that people do it, usually, I'll throw up some images on screen right now. My good friends Stridey and Mickey Joe have also tried to do this feature to great success, honestly. I do really like the ones in Vanilla Tweaks and Mickey Joe's Rid. But they generally use the rainbow color format that you get of notes. So obviously, if I press the note block here, all the notes come out in a different order. So you have like green, red, blue, background to green again, and so on. So you have like this kind of like weird rainbow order of the color of the notes. Now what you can do is basically find those color values and use them for every single state, of which there are 25 in total for the notes. I chose instead to have the letter show up on the side as a simple white letter, and obviously the hash if it's sharp. Is that F sharp? I think it is. I'm not a musician, honestly. But yeah, basically it's a little bit different. So a lot of people like to use rainbows to signify whether or not you're on like the first or second set of letters. But I don't really think it's important. And I love the visual style of this. I think it looks really good. I do have a slight issue with this, however, which I haven't really addressed yet. But basically, buttons don't work on these note blocks. If you put a button or a lever on this note block, it's broken, which is not the best thing. So I'm a little bit undecided on how to fix that, but I do have an idea that I may try and implement. There aren't many things that buttons can go on that have like a hollow back, honestly. Could they go on like walls? I don't think so. Wait, I gotta try this now. I feel like they could fit, right? No, you can't put them on walls. That's good to know. That's good to know. I feel like a button could fit on that though, right? Because it's like 6 wide and that's 8 wide. Yeah, a button could totally fit on top of that. I'm glad that's not a thing. That would really throw me off. But yeah, as you can see here, buttons do have like this weird gap at the back. And unfortunately, even though you can't physically get around to see it in Vanilla Survival, if you get inside there, you can see that it is actually cold as well. So it looks really dumb. But what I'm thinking is, if we make button models in the future, I could maybe have like a physical thing behind the button, which would override this hollow out area of the note block. And obviously, if we ever come into anything which is similar to this in the future, we can take that into account as well. But yeah, it works pretty nicely, I think. Yeah, it's just a cool shape. It has like a base, which is kind of like a grey-brown, and the neutral wood colours that we use for things like chests and the ladders and everything else. Yeah, I think it looks pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, Podzol's also been done, but not the top because I got bored. I don't know why. I mentioned before that I did a lot of this stuff before I took a break from Caelesti and YouTube in general. The Podzol side texture is done. I don't remember doing it, if I'm honest with you. But I found it in the files, and I was like, oh, I already did this. Sweet. And I looked at it, and I was like, I really like that. Yeah, the Podzol side texture's already done, I guess. I didn't do the top textures, though, so they have not been done just yet. But they will be done in the future. So probably in the next version of Caelesti, version 0.21, they will actually be included, and we'll have a complete Podzol model, I guess. The Podzol item texture has already been put in, though. The item model, I should say, it just has the vanilla top texture, like the block does as well, so it works just fine. Moving on from that, we have my favorite feature of today's update. Love doing that. I love having like a favorite feature. It makes it feel more personal. This is Farmland. It seems like a really boring one, right? I wouldn't blame you if you thought I was a bit boring for this being my favorite feature in today's episode, but this took a lot of time and effort, and it's also very, very snazzy. Farmland blocks have 4 different textures, 2 of which share the north and south face, and 2 of which share the east and west face, and it's to give it this, as you can see, very, very subtle detail at the side, where basically you can see that the kind of peaks and troughs of the farmland have been kind of like moved onto the edges to show these like rounded sections, and on the sides, it's not rounded sections, but instead just like a long, thin bit that makes it look like it has like a top, like a bezel on top of the farmland. I really like it. I've done this in the past. I did this when we were doing, the vanilla farmland in SCDT and Skur back in the day. Wait, did we ever do an SCDT? No, I don't think we did. Well, yeah, when we were doing the vanilla farmland in Skur, I also had the same kind of like rounded textures on the ends and then the flattened textures on the sides, and I think it looks really good. It's a lot more complete, and again, it just fits my whole aesthetic much better. Once again, we have 8 variants, but again, for this one, it's a little bit more tricky. The 8 variants are only rotated twice as opposed to 4 times. Everything else in my pack that has 8 variants is rotated 4 times. So as you can see here with this grass, we have 8 texture variants and 4 rotation variants for a total of 32 different textures making up the mass of grass here. We only actually have 16 textures making up the farmland because it's 8 textures rotated twice. However, the important thing is when you hoe this ground, I feel we're saying the word hoe, because I feel like I've only been using that ironically recently, but yeah. If I get myself some dirt, like so, when I hoe the dirt, you see the side texture retains. The side texture stays the same. Ooh, well, given that there's a different number of variants, how is this done? It's very easy. Every single farmland just has a weight of 2. So the game basically treats it as though there's 32 farmland models, even though there's not. There's actually still 16, but they're just weighted differently. So it still works fine. Every time you till your ground, the dirt is going to be identical. As you can see here, if I till it, it's just going to, side texture stays the same and just gets the top bit instead, which I think is really cool. It wasn't too hard to figure out, but I think it definitely looks really nice. I think the texture looks really good as well. It looks very random and very kind of like, varied, like farmland should, and I think this is a really good use of this kind of texture system. We also have the moist version of the farmland here, and of course, given that we do have special block state checks for this with the moisture 7, as you can see there, I did go ahead and go all out, as I'd like to do with my projects. So the moisture levels have been changed for every single stage, so that's all the way from 0 through to 7 for a total of 8 different textures. They only have a very slight texture difference at the side, but as you can see here, when when you do remove a water bucket from an area of farmland, it will slowly dry out from 7 to 0, as opposed to go straight from the brown, moist dirt to the more grey, dull, dry dirt that we have normally. And I think it looks really, really good. So yeah, the farmland is done. I think it looks awesome. I can't wait to make more crops to put on this thing. I'm honestly really looking forward to doing crops now. Yeah, easily my favorite feature from this update. I really like the farmland. I think it's really, really cool. Now, finally, on to some fixes. Not really that much in terms of fixes for today's episode, but glass panes were fundamentally broken in the previous update. I know the previous update was the glass pane update, which is kind of ironic, given that was the thing that was mainly broken. But turns out glass panes have ambient occlusion in vanilla, and mine didn't, so they looked really dumb. If you look at these here, we have clear, red, green, and blue. You can see they look much, much nicer, much more like vanilla. They look much more clear, and of course, the edges, the shading makes a lot more sense. In the previous update, if you ever had a glass that was inside of blocks like this, like encased in blocks, like like in the villager church, for example, it would be really dark and dull and just not shaded very nice, and that was just simply a mistake on my part. So if you have been using Caelesti version 0.21 and the glass has looked a bit ugly, that's because it was. You're not going insane. It was ugly. It should now be fixed, which is really good. Onwards from that, we have new birch leaves. Only a very smart, tiny change with these, but basically the translucent space in between the leaves was previously 0 opacity white, which was making the leaves look really, really bright, and now it's 0 opacity black, which makes them look more natural, darker, more like the other leaves that we have, such as oak and jungle as well. I'll throw an image up on screen right there of how the birch leaves looked beforehand, before they had that color change. As you can see, they looked very bright. They looked really dumb, frankly, and I'm glad that I've finally fixed that issue. Moving on from that, we have bees. I don't know where they've gone though. I think they're all just in there. I'm just going to get some new ones out. Basically, bees have been fundamentally changed. Some of you may remember there was a previous update where I basically introduced bee swarms. Now, I'm really annoyed to have removed this because, frankly, I really liked the feature, but it was fundamentally broken like a lot of things in my pack. I'll throw a video up on screen right now. Basically, the previous bees did not rotate correctly. They rotated around an invisible rotation point in the middle of the swarm, which basically meant that all of the bees, and especially the ones further outwards to the left or right, looked really dumb when turning. They would just really quickly zip around, and that would look cool, but if it wasn't for the obvious error, if you couldn't see what was really happening, you know, it just looks stupid, basically. So I've instead of opted to go with a much more simple bee model. The bees are now simply a singular bee. They are a lot smaller than the bees in vanilla, because I've never liked how massive the bees in vanilla are. Baby bees are especially small. They look adorable. They are fucking tiny, and I love them. And the good thing is now that we have like this singular bee, we can also do some more interesting things with these in the future, such as variants, and also maybe even like, yeah, variants. That's it. Just variants, frankly. I would absolutely love it if Optifine added the feature to have custom mob skins based on the system date. That would be incredible. I requested this ages ago, and I really hope they add it in the future. There's no way of saying whether we will or won't get it, unfortunately, and Optifine is notoriously slow to add new features. Are you supposed to be pollinated right now? Is that not working? That's not working. That's broken. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, the CEM model includes the fucking texture, doesn't it? Oh. I haven't been doing this for a while, alright? Yeah, so, okay, bees are broken. I already released the pack. Fuck you. Bees will be fixed in the next one. Shit. Oh, well. And on that bombshell, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the latest update of Caelesti. Not a big one, obviously just kind of a small update for Caelesti right now. Some very simple changes. I do like the new chest shape. I do love the new jukebox, and of course the farmland as well. More importantly, though, just fixes. Updated the pack to 1.17. It now includes the 1.17 dirt path formatting and things like that. And yeah, obviously the next update for Caelesti is planned to be a much larger one. But before we do go, I wanted to announce my next project that I'll be working on. Someone in my Discord server, I can't remember who it was. I think it was either Jan or Ender. I should have probably checked before I started talking about it. But either way, someone in the Discord basically recommended that I should do a Christmas event, which I think is a great idea. I have been thinking of ways to try and kickstart Caelesti and get more features in the pack for a long time now. And this, in my opinion, is an absolutely great way of doing it. So we're going to have the Skadvent calendar. and that's the first time I've said that out loud, and I hate it. But we're going with it now, so fuck you. Basically, throughout December, instead of an advent calendar, from me, you're going to be getting a random singular tiny feature every couple days. Maybe not every day, maybe not too rare, but I'm planning on doing it as much as I possibly can. There are obviously going to be some days where I'm either with my family or too busy, where I'm not going to be able to put out a feature, but I do have a lot of ideas in mind already. And basically the idea is I will make these features, showcase them, make a short 3 to 5 minute video showing off that feature for you over the course of December, and then on the 25th of December for Christmas I will release update Caelesti version 0.21, which will include all of the features from the Skadvent calendar as well as some fixes apparently. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you look forward to Scalmus, or whatever the fuck it's going to be called. I'm really undecided on the name, honestly, but it's just kind of funny at this point. But yes, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Go download Caelesti version 0.20.2. There's no easy way of saying Caelesti version 0.22 because it just sounds like 22. I don't know. It's a mess. I don't know. Either way, new pod's all funky. Me back. Good times. Merry Christmas. Happy Halloween. All the shit that I missed in between. So yeah, that rhymed. I'm so happy. Anyway. Goodbye, have a nice day, take care, bye-bye, have a nice day, and bye-bye.